Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. And school's not out for summer, but school is out for spring break for a lot of people. So soak it up.
Yeah. We can't wait.
I know. I just got out of my spring break from the University of Arizona, and man, I embrace every single second of that spring break. I tell you that.
Yes.
Man, it is so needed.
Yeah.
It's just I was so far removed from school, I forgot how important those breaks are. Because like if it would have came like a day later, I would have probably just said, okay, I'm done with this school stuff. Enough of that. So.
It's so exhausting. And I mean, you're talking about the brain power that you're using. And, you get used to it. Like, veterans here, like Miss Kanyes, who's been 2.5 years now, that you get used to it. But goodness, you start to just decline in every area of your life, and you're like, oh, I probably need a little break, so
yeah, breaks
are so important.
So important, but we're here to be you listeners break from the monotony of life, and I am Pastor John McClain here with the superintendent of Tucson International Academy, a former Tucson Unified School District educator, the author of the book, Making College Come True, 10 Keys to Success, and still the newest talk radio show host in the fair city of Tucson in the radio show Making College Come True. Her name is Dr. Jennifer Herrera. Yeah, also known as Dr. J, because she's got a mean jump shot.
I do.
I haven't seen it yet, but I could just...
I challenge any student.
She seems convinced by it. And someone that convinced by something, they must be true. Right?
Yes, I agree. It's 100%.
Yeah, and we got definitely, it seems like we have another cool show on our hands today. We got another couple cool kids from Tucson International Academy. I think it's safe to say probably a couple of the coolest. I feel like, I don't know, I was telling them, this feels like these are a couple of the oldest kids that we've had on the show. I know we had Ethan on. He was almost 18 when we had on. But a lot of the, sometimes we have a lot of like 10 and under, or like 12 and under kids. So this will be cool to see the take of these guys. And actually, one of the students, he was saying that he's been here from TIA since he was just a little buck.
Yeah,
so he's,
of course.
over a decade of experience that he can talk about. So that's going to be super cool. So yeah, introduce who we have in studio with us here today.
All right. Well, first of all, we have two students from Tucson International Academy, which I want you to hear their voice. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Just tell them your name and the grade that you're in and how many years you've been with TIA.
Hi, my name is Diego. I'm 17 and I've been with TIA since 5th grade, so 6 years.
Great.
My name's Cara. I've been with TIA for 2 years now.
I love it.
Nice.
All right. And you're a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sophomore. So
Wow.
sophomore and junior, they still have a couple years left, but that's the ideal time to make those final decisions about which university you want. And so the whole title of today is the college road trip, the in-person and up-close experience at the universities. And so that's what they got to do, and that's what they'll talk all about. And we have our famous hostess with the mostest, who is constantly coming up with new ideas, making the trip even more enjoyable and more fulfilling, and that is Arlene Kanyes. Woo!
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I always worry when she comes because she has just such a smooth radio voice. I think like any day she's going to replace me.
If she wasn't a chicken.
Thank God for people's fear of public speaking.
But what I like is when you are passionate about something, you're willing to come and share about it. And so that's what I really appreciate about Miss Kanyes.
Yeah.
She is our chief registrar at Tucson International Academy. So any of you new people that are listening to the show and are considering enrolling your kids, she is probably the best answer woman who can tell you all the answers to your questions and also help you find the right fit, because we do have 4 locations, and each one may have something slightly different that will accommodate your child best. So it is kinder through 12th grade. We did just come back from the college road trip. It is value added. We don't have to do that, but we do it because we want our kids to really have an opportunity to make a wise choice on where they want to spend their college years.
And also, it just seems like a big thing about TIA, and something that I guess, my high school or my schools have, but like you guys, like, it's ingrained in it, is giving these kids these experience that are like once in a lifetime experiences that they may never get a chance to do otherwise. Like, even like I was talking to Miss Kanyes before we started the show. I've been in Tucson over 26 years. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, but all these kids
happens.
now get to say that they have.
Oh yes, yes, and they got to do the pink Jeep tour, no less, which is extra fun, I think. So, that's part of it too. Getting yourself to have opportunities, because as well as Mrs. Kanyes and I, that once you are an adult, so you two in particular can really listen to this. Once you are in the adult world, adulting, doing a job and paying bills and raising a family and taking care of older parents as they have needs and all of that, your life goes really fast. And all those dreams and ideas about a vacation, you were all excited, you saved money, you were going to go take the family over to Southern California and do, a couple of parks and go to the beach and all this, and then the car breaks down. So now you got to buy a new car. So there went the vacation money, and that happens over and over and over again. So I can't stress enough to our students, and I always tell them this, and I will say it again to the two of you, that it's so important that you take advantage of every little opportunity you get. Go with that aunt or uncle to some other relative's house just to see that other city, just to be with your relatives, get to know them. You won't really have time. Once you finish high school, life really picks up an even faster pace, and that is definitely part of life. And so I'm so glad that you two chose to go. You didn't have to go. You chose to go on the trip. It wasn't that expensive, but it was still some money, and it's also exhausting. I mean, how many hours did you sleep?
The first day it was only like 2, 3.
I don't know. Well, we slept
I
on the
know.
bus.
Yeah, it's like a little on the bus.
Yeah, if you count that as sleeping, right? But it is the nature of it, because you're excited. It's very hard to fall asleep too, and so that's just the nature of this trip. And you use that adrenaline to get through the first day, and then you do get to sleep in a hotel the next night, and that's how we try to make it happen. And we're excited. So, yeah. So make the most of every opportunity you get. To make relationships, to visit relatives, to go to college. And when you're in college, make the most of every opportunity in college. You'll have chances to go on weekend getaways with whatever group is going somewhere. Go with them, especially if it's school sponsored, a little safer than if it's just a private group going. And just enjoy that. It's usually affordable. It's usually like more extensive. Like in the canyon, I've seen Grand Canyon University takes weekend trips. They'll go to the Grand Canyon themselves, but they'll put up a tent and they'll sleep 2 nights, and you go into a long hike. Sometimes they even go down to the bottom of the canyon and back. There's so many opportunities to partake of, and I'm telling you, as you get older, like right now, the idea of walking down to the bottom of the canyon at my age is not appealing. I mean, unless they can fly me. I'd like to do a helicopter down there. I like helicopters, but but even that's fairly dangerous, they say. So I just it's not appealing anymore. But I did walk down to the bottom of the canyon when I was 21, I believe, with Mr. Herrera.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we'll talk about all that and more after this break. This is the Making College Country Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. Go to TucsonInternationalAcademy.com today to register your kid to make college come true in their life.
We now return to the Making College Come True Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Making College Come True Radio Show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John McClain here with Dr. Jennifer Herrera, also known as Dr. J. Yay. Yeah. And we're here with Miss Kanyes and with Diego and
Cara.
And Mr. BB slipped in the side, so he's going to be joining us. And today we're going to be we've already been kind of talking about the makeup of all the kind of cool stuff that Tucson International Academy does. Added value, is that the term? Yeah, the added value.
Added value,
yeah.
Good, that's a good one.
And one of those being this Grand Canyon trip that I certainly have been hearing a lot about over the years that I've known Dr. J, and Miss Kanyas, you and Mr. BB were leading that trip this time around. Why don't you tell us about that and how that went?
Well, it's our college road trip, and what we do is we take high schoolers, mostly seniors and juniors. This year we had sophomores with us as well, and we took 24 students and 5 chaperones to 3 colleges, well, 2.5 kind of. And we also include an outside excursion, which is the Pink Jeep tour of the Grand Canyon, because a lot of our students pretty much never get out of Tucson, so we want them to see what else is out there. And most of them have never set a foot on college campus until they actually go. So we want to encourage them to see it before. So we take them to Grand Canyon University, Embry-Riddle University, and Northern Arizona University when we can. We ran late this time, so we didn't get to include it because our Pink Jeep tour ran over, but the kids had a blast anyway. So it was a lot of fun for all of us, even though I didn't get to go. But I had to give up my seat because we miscounted.
I got to go.
But Mr. Beebe got to go.
Tell us about what you do at the different campuses. Like I know the first campus you toured was Embry-Riddle, and we haven't had a student actually choose to go there yet, but they're very interested in our school and our students. And so what would you say to someone who isn't sure, but they kind of liked it, but they're not sure about it? And what did you guys do when you go there? Like when you're on a tour, what in the world do they do with you? You just walk around and look, or they talk, or what kind of stuff do you see there in particular? I know it's different.
One of the things I appreciate about all of the tours that we have, especially Embry-Riddle, is that they're student-led. So we had 2 seniors that were leading us around the campus, showing us everything, and taking us to all the different buildings, their cafeteria, their library, and all of that. And being that Embry-Riddle is an aeronautics university, they also take us to the tarmac on the flight line. So we get to see the airplanes, get to watch them take off and come in and all of that. And they ask a lot of, they tell us a lot and they ask a lot. One of the things that's really cool about Embry-Riddle, which a lot of people don't know, it's not just aeronautics. They have cybersecurity, business, college, I want to say computer graphing, teaching you how to make video games, a lot of
meteorology.
Cool stuff. Yeah, meteorology, which is another one, which is really cool. Air traffic controlling, all of these cool things. The cybersecurity one I think is my favorite. I actually want to change my major so I can do that. But it's a lot of fun. And a lot of the kids, because I didn't even know that until I went there to take a tour, that they did all of that. And these kids get recruited from the FBI, the CIA, Secret Service, all of that.
Raytheon, if you want to keep them home.
That's true. Yeah.
That's right.
So it's really cool. And that's what I liked about
Yeah,
it.
one of the tour guides, the gentleman, I forget his name, he is studying forensic accounting.
Yes.
Not something you would think about when you think about Embry-Riddle. And so he got to actually talk a bit about that, something a little bit different. Something that she didn't mention that was really cool is like the ultimate Xbox game, the flight simulator, or flight simulators. I wanted to get in and play. Just tons of toys. As a matter of fact, Mr. Machado is with us. He walked past one of the labs where it's a materials testing lab.
That's right.
Where they break stuff and bend stuff. And he saw all the giant tools in there, and we had to kind of hold him back.
Yeah, we had to pry him out.
That's funny. Well, that's what I kept hearing about when I got and when I saw you guys come back. Just we want to go and roll. Let's all go and roll.
Yes.
It's just things that we always hear about, but you didn't know how they actually were trained to do it. So that's what I love. And by the way, listeners, we do have another guest that joined us. That's Mr. Beebe. So Mr. Beebe is our college and career counselor, and he helps the kids align their interests and their skill set with a university where they can maximize their potential and also their fulfillment in life. So he knows, he's the college guru. He's definitely taking TIA above where we've been before.
Yeah, I like to think of Mr. Beebe kind of like the Lakers signing LeBron James. that's him.
Yeah, I'm not 6'6".
So he's telling about it. This is his first college road trip. So what did you think about the college road trip?
You know that I kept hearing how cool it was, and I'm asking questions, and Miss Conyers is like, you're just going, just go. And it just felt so natural to go with the kids on these things I've been talking about. Some of the things I've been saying that kind of just, another grown-up's telling me about college, and kind of glossy-eyed. And then they walk on campus and they're like, that's what he means. Like the whole, possibility of starting at Pima and transferring. GCU does 4 credit hour classes. Pima offers 3 and 2 credit hour classes. Those are not going to transfer.
No, and it's a big disappointment if they didn't know that little piece of information.
Yeah, and so it was really neat to be there because basically they're salespeople. I mean, they are excited. They are students. They're telling about great things, all that the colleges have, but they are there to sell the college experience. Well, I'm there to advocate for the kids that are TIA kids. So I get to ask the hard questions. Actually, I had to apologize afterwards. I'm like, good job. Thanks for taking all the hard ones, things you don't normally get asked.
I like that, though. See, you're keeping them on their toes.
They were like, oh, that's a good question. Really good question. And then they had to think about how to answer it.
Yeah, so it was, I think the kid, you guys got a lot out of it, right?
Yeah, it was, I learned a lot about college. Before this, I wasn't really, I didn't think I needed to go. I was like, I don't really care. It's fine.
That's funny because one of the other kids, I think it was one in your group, that I went over and was talking to at GCU, and she, because obviously it's our college road trip. You don't belong there if you're not really at least thinking about college, because there's a limited number of kids that get to go. Right. We had to cut kids that wanted to go. Yeah, that's true. And so this young lady, I'm like, what you guys think? Did you get a lot out of this? Has this been great? She goes, yeah, I wasn't even planning on going. Oops. I'm like, it's all right. It wasn't her. It's a different one. And I'm like, it's okay. She goes, but now, you know what? I think I could. And a lot of it, to give GCU some credit, is the amount of resources and help and support systems that they have, that these kids who feel like they're going to be thrown in the deep end of the pool or out to the wolves in the wilderness, they actually have someone to hold their hand. They have somebody who's there for them on site, as well as us still supporting them. And so it's a little less scary, right?
Yeah.
And they have good pizza, right?
It was so good.
That was good pizza.
We were on the bus forever. We were starving.
I didn't get my second slice, though, you guys. That wasn't fair.
I heard about the inflation lesson as well, that they got to experience travel with the new inflated prices. $100 and some for one of the fast food. We won't say which one, but it was fast food, and it was like $100. And we're like, what? And it's just 100 little nuggets. So yeah, that would be a shocker.
Well, I asked them, I'm like, who wants to go buy some overpriced knickknacks? And then they're like, what? And then Miss Connie was like, I am.
I know. I did.
She dropped a few in the GCU bookstore.
I did. My College of Education.
I like that. She has a College of Education shirt, and so does BB. It does the education, though, but it says
no,
Grand
but it looks
Canyon
like the
University.
Jeep thing.
Oh, I like it, like the Jeep tour. Yes, I love that. Yeah. And like I said, Mrs. Cañas is currently a student enrolled on the online program of GCU. So I think that's kind of extra special that the kids got to go on a college road trip with someone who's employed at a school, and she's still in college.
Yeah, that's right. Well, cool. We'll hear about all that and all the amazing work Tucson International Academy does after this break. This is the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. Go to TucsonInternationalAcademy.com to register your student today.
We now return to the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm Pastor John McClain, here with Dr. Jennifer Herrera.
Yay!
Yeah. So we have Ms. Cañas, Mr. Beebe.
Hello.
Both Tucson International Academy staff members, both superstars in their own right. And we got a couple TIA superstar students here with us who also went on the Grand Canyon trip, and seems like they have had a good time. I guess, we'll start from left to right. What was the, you're the, makes an L if you do this. Yes. What was your big takeaway from the trip?
The college, it's a lot less scary than it seems like on TV shows.
Yeah. What did you think about could you picture yourself at any one of those universities, and what were your thoughts about? Like you said, it seems attainable now. I really probably will go.
Yeah, me and my friends were really looking at GCU because it looks really nice and inviting. Embry-Riddle seems a lot more like tech savvy, and I'm not really, so I was like, maybe not.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You date somebody from there because they're going to make money, and they'll have some interesting tales to tell because they're so, like you said, knowledge oriented, and technology is everything these days. So that's really cool. So at least when you meet somebody who is a little bit, tech oriented, you will be able to relate to them better now because you can say, "Oh, have you ever heard of Embry-Riddle?"
Yeah.
And they can say, "Yeah, isn't that university, blah, blah, blah." And you say, "Yeah, I went there, I took a tour." And that's a rare thing. Many people do not bother to tour it, yet it is an outstanding university. And it's a place that people can get an interesting, long-term, many different facets of technology-related careers. So I just love it that you got to go, and I would be like you. I would be like, "Oh, that's nice for them." They would probably not enjoy having me, but I think that's really neat.
Yeah. And I think another interesting thing kind of in relation to that, and also just in these trips, and I guess, you can tell me if I'm wrong, like, doesn't kind of like seeing these different schools and kind of being there, being part of that, doesn't it kind of put it into perspective better where like you're saying, okay, well, I'm not Embry-Riddle material, but oh yeah, I definitely am this material, and I can certainly do this, where before, like you were saying, you thought you were at stay at home and hang out material.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It definitely gave me an idea of like what to look for, like what I was liked in these schools.
And what did you like about Grand Canyon? You were saying that you and your friend pretty much liked that. What were your conversations or thoughts? Or
me and my friends really liked how it was very welcoming. It wasn't like you have school, do the school, then leave.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it sounds like you're a little bit on the social side. And a school like Grand Canyon University has tons of clubs and organizations and leadership opportunities and weekend getaways and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and to have is your friend also like you? Like she wasn't sure about college, now she's kind of thinking about it?
Yeah, both of my friends were.
Nice.
Well, what do you think of the idea if your friends and you room together at GCU?
No, yeah, that's what we were thinking about.
I love that. And that's what I promote to all of you listeners out there, that you help your kids accomplish big tasks by surrounding them with like-minded friends. And at Tucson International Academy, all the kids are geared towards career and preparation. And of course, what the parents have asked me to do personally is to get the kids in a position of acceptance to college. So helping you jump all the paperwork hoops and things like that. But to do it with your friends is just even more meaningful. And of course, Mrs. Cañas and I know that because our daughters were roommates. They went all through TIA together, and then they went to Grand Canyon University together. They were roommates all through. They had different, you still meet new people. It's not like you're not going to meet new people.
That is just too cute.
Yeah, it's good,
You two are just like little bosom buddies. That is bosom buddies. That is too much. You gotta stop.
It's just crazy
like Thelma
how
and Louise. I can't handle it.
Yes.
Potato. How does it go?
That's how it goes.
Nice.
So I love it. Yeah.
So Car, your idea. What are your thoughts on the dorms and that whole experience?
They were really nice. I read a sign that said they were 7th best in the country. They were really cool.
That's super cool. Yeah. All right. And then we got Diego over there in the corner. Let's have some fun too. What's your big takeaway, bud?
Honestly, it was basically all of it. Especially at GCU, I learned a lot about college. That stuff I didn't know. Like even with the credits, I didn't even know that. And when I saw GCU, I've never been to like an actual college campus. So when I saw it, I was like, wow. I'm over here thinking, how they pictured it on the movies and all that, and it really wasn't that. I think it was more than what I thought it was going to be. It's really nice, and I like that. Because I'm a very social person, so I really like that.
You seem like a cool cat. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
you would love that.
And it's interesting that, you've lived in. I'm guessing you lived in Tucson your whole life, right? You lived in Tucson your whole life. You could have probably gone to the University of Arizona campus, but that just shows kind of how special TIA is. The first campus that you ever went to was in Northern Arizona, and GCU. So that's super cool that you had that experience, unlike what most get. Yeah.
Looks like Mr. Beebe's going to say something on that.
Diego just reminded me of something that just cracked me up. Is we have some kids that are like really into basketball, and so what was it? CJ, I think, or somebody went into one of the gyms that we were waiting for the people by, and they come out and his eyes are wide and he's like, "Oh, that's so cool! Did you see their arena?" I'm like, "That's a practice court." He's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we got 3 more of those and 4 swimming pools." And he's like, "No way!"
I love that. I know, just the exposure to what they do, what they put into sports. And then that's another thing I would say. You know, Tucson International Academy is a small school. And for us, people who want to go to play sports in college, sometimes they say there's no way that, you know, I can if I go to TIA. That's not true. Really, what the coaches have told us just recently, more than when we first started going, they're like, you know what we're looking for? Kids that will actually come to practice on time, that will not talk back, that will give their 100%, that will follow along with the plays that we're teaching them and not buck the system. You know, it's really frustrating for a coach. They cannot run a team if the teammates will not follow their direction and their leadership. And that's one thing I can say about TIA is they do think on their own, but they also trust their leaders enough to follow what they direct. And so I think that's a big point. I mean, really, guys, today, people don't want to follow anybody. And there might be good reasons for that. Maybe they've had bad leadership in the past. But that's something at TIA that we do try to tell the kids is we try to give them the leadership opportunity, i.e. JA Day. Did you guys both enjoy that?
Yeah, that was fun.
Where you were the teachers and the kids had to follow you. So like we are trying to work hard on the leadership aspect because leadership's so important in life.
Yeah, we'll have all that and more after this break. This is the Making College Come True radio show brought to you by Tucson International Academy. If you have a student K through 12 that you're looking to make college come true in their life, go to TucsonInternationalAcademy.com. We'll be right back.
We now return to the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back from your potty break. This is Pastor John McClain with the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy, here with the Dr. J, the only one that matters in my life, at least.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Jennifer Herrera here, the superintendent of Tucson International Academy, here to make college come true in your life. Because as she did in mine, and as she did in Miss Condes, and as she's going to do in Cara's, and she's going to do in Diego.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you were to try to keep, think of a number, how many people have you made college come true in their lives?
Oh, geez. Well, that's kind of a flattering idea, a flattering number.
Yeah.
It's been 14 years. We graduate different size classes, but let's say the average is like 15. I don't know what's 15. That's 150, maybe 240.
240, and that's just through your schools.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I'm saying, I mean, just think of with your book or with this show or just the relationships you have with people. I know that's kind of like what happened in our situation, where it was just like, as we became better and better friends. Like,
yes.
I just felt convicted to be the best friend to you I could. And that was, being the best person, taking care of myself, getting, doing the things and growth that I knew I needed to do to be a good friend to you and be a good husband to my wife and be a good father to my children. So,
yeah. Well, my point is with us, that are already like endeavoring, and you're very successful in life already. So it isn't like for success maybe necessarily that you were trying to get your degree, but it's one of those things that can nag you and can kind of be a hindrance in your personal fulfillment. So, and then you're making new contacts at school, aren't you? As you're going to your classes,
Absolutely.
you're meeting people, interesting people from other countries that you would never have a chance to meet, like somebody from Bangladesh or something. It's like I remember my first friend that was from another place. So it's that's the thing I like about university is a lot of my experiences I had in university I've never had again since, and that's been 30 some years. So it's really something that's unique, and you don't really get another chance to do it easily later on in life. So I love it that you're doing it, and I think that you should have the pleasure of saying, yeah, I still did it, and I accomplished it, and it won't be hard for you. I mean, the academic, it's just the managing your time, but even the time management shuffle is going to help you be better at everything.
Yeah, and once you get into that groove, it's a groove. It just flows. So yeah, I mean, and exactly to your point, it was one of those things that was nagging at me. I had 6.5 years of college underneath my belt, but I knew that, just having that degree would just would be good for me. You know, and I was actually meeting with Jason Ayers. He's the son of the founder of Gap Ministry this afternoon, and he was saying, we are all held by our own convictions, but we all have our own different convictions. Like for him, he doesn't drink and he doesn't do that thing, not because he thinks that people shouldn't drink. That's his conviction. And like for me, I don't eat pork. That's my thing. And not that I don't think other people should eat pork. I don't, but that's my conviction. So that's that same premise with going to college and getting a degree, and kind of like to pivot that question, and I'll turn it to you this time first, Diego. When did the idea of college first get introduced into your life? And yeah,
that's a hard question. Probably since when I started at Tucson International Academy.
That's the correct answer.
Perfect answer, Diego.
No, like being serious, like genuinely honest. Yeah, it's probably where I kind of got that idea of college, and it wasn't that interesting to me until I started to figure out what I liked. Like, what do I want to do when I'm older? So, and I actually want to do architecture.
Okay, awesome. That's amazing.
Tell us how that affected you when you were at GCU. You loved it. You were like, yes, this might be my university. And then what happened?
I found out they didn't have an architecture program, and I was so bummed out because it was like, I could see myself totally going to GCU. Like, this is the perfect place. This is the perfect campus.
Yes.
And I guess kind of also to add on to that, because we know the answer to this question, what school are you leaning toward now because of that?
Oregon University.
Okay.
University of Oregon.
And I asked that question right now instead of jumping over the car and fielding the past question for her, because Oregon is a lot like Northern Arizona.
Right.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time in Portland, Eugene, primarily in those areas with the work that I do, and they are very, very similar. So definitely, if you like kind of the feel, the vibe, the nature of the GCU area, have a taste. Check it out. Go on a little trip, particularly once either before you turn 18 or once you turn 18. Jump on a Greyhound, go check it out, go stay there for a day, and really, breathe it in just like you did with Grand Canyon, because, like, I think that. That's the great thing that Tucson International Academy shows you guys is like, go see. Don't just as amazing as the internet is, like, it doesn't have all the answers in comparison to just going and feeling it, touching it, smelling it, putting yourself there.
Seeing is believing. I mean, and also feeling it, because you know how that is. Like you said, you felt like GCU was right. So what I say is, like, when that happens, because it does happen a lot, is that the reason you were able to identify with what feels right is because now you have a compass for the place you will go that has the architecture program, and you'll be able to have had that prior experience at GCU, and you'll say, okay, does this feel like that? Yeah, it does have this in common, but it even has that more, so that's how you can use it as a measuring tool, like, where do I fit? What is best for me? And going out of state can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, we have things called airplanes. We have inexpensive travel called Flixbus. Like, I remember when the girls, our daughters that were going to GCU, lost the privilege of the car. That does still happen when you're in college, okay? And they had to use the Flixbus to come down to Tucson. And at first, I don't think they were too happy about it, but later they were like, well, you know what? That was really a good experience, because we saw you can get where you need to go at an affordable price. Yeah. So that even goes, I know that even Arlene's son has used that to go over to California, right? And I mean, so they go everywhere, and they're affordable, and they're designed just for exactly like college kids, so you may be broke, very broke during college, but it's worth it, because everybody at college is broke. Nobody has money.
You're among peers.
Yes.
For sure.
And it feels good to see everyone kind of suffering but happy. It's like they share more, because they understand. I shared rides with people I never would have, even talked to, but I needed to get get where I wanted to go. And so, we would pitch in for gas, and we were 6 people slammed in a 4-person car, and you get to know them when you're like smashed together. And just those conversations, great opportunity. So even traveling to and from where your university is a powerful time for you. So you don't have to be afraid or be afraid you'll miss your family and all. Yes, you'll miss them. You will. That's, I don't want to lie to you. But you develop a more mature relationship with them, and you learn to appreciate them more because they're not right there at your beck and call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll turn the initial question to you, Cara. When did the idea of college first come across you, and when did you start pondering on the possibility that you may be a college student one day?
College has always been like in the back of my mind, like I might do it, and then I always like change like what I want to do very often. So then when it became like I want to do this was this trip. Like I really do want to do it.
I love it.
Nice.
So you're both getting straight A's. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? Even I'm glad that you're just being honest and saying that, because that's what it took for me as well, just to see it and to have it become more real. My whole family did go to college, but just because they didn't mean I was dying to go. I didn't really want to go. I wanted to take a year off, but man, I'm glad they did not let me take that year. Taking a year off just delays your graduation, and believe me, by the time you're a senior, you are so done. You are so ready to be done with your program. Imagine if you had delayed it even another year, then I think it gets tricky to finish. And how many people don't finish their degrees, right? It does happen, and that's with everybody. So makes a big difference, huh?
48%, Mr. Beebe says, do not finish their degrees.
Oof, that's like half, right?
Yeah.
So that's something. Just be in the right half. Make yourself finish it. You just buckle down and you say, "Oh, I don't like this, but I'm going to do it." And you get around people that are doing the same thing that you are, which hopefully your roommates, your friends, and then if you have to, go make new friends that are staying the course, getting it done. Because after you get it done, it opens so many doors. Like and then you will change like the face of whatever landscape you are building, drawing pictures of buildings for. When we have our career fair, which is coming up next month, we have a great architect who's like TIA's architect, and his name is Steve Shell. And he says one of the biggest joys he has is driving through Tucson and saying, I did that building. Oh, I did that building. Ooh, I love how this building turned out. I got my fingerprints on that. And he said it's just a joy. It's like a pleasure. It's an honor, and it just feels so good. And he loves having that influence. And so, and then what is your current career, Cara, that you're thinking? Because you can change your mind, okay?
Yeah.
We're not gonna...
You can change it tomorrow if you really want to.
Yes.
You probably shouldn't. You probably should commit to something, but you can change whatever you want.
I want to be a flight attendant. I want to see the world. So,
man.
Like, why I didn't want to go to college. It's like, I don't really need it. But I was thinking about going to college and like taking language courses. That way I make more money and I can go more places.
Yeah, you could really be like the top one. And as you have like a family, like if you do end up choosing to have a family and stuff, it gets tricky being gone all the time, as a flight attendant. So flight attendant leads right into all these other even bigger dollar jobs that still get you those cheap tickets so you can travel all over the world. And then you can put your kids in TIA and come on our international trips, and and you can still have your fun. You can still travel and see the world. And I think it's a great idea.
I have a better suggestion though, Cara. When we do our international trips, we actually have people that with the tour companies that show us around and take us around in the countries. And they speak that language, and they give us all the tours that we do, and they get their tour paid for by us because they're going with us. They're our tour manager, so that's a really cool thing. Because I've even thought of that. I'm like, why don't I do that? But I love what I do now.
No, you're the chief registrar. She's not allowed.
Absolutely. Well, let's get out of here before she changes her mind on career. Thanks everybody for coming. This is the Making College Come True radio show, brought to you by Tucson International Academy. I'm still Pastor John, here with still Dr. J. We'll catch you next week.